Well, I've been asked to talk about the Code Red that happened on December 3rd, the first one the school's had in apparently over 10 years. I received information that made me concerned for the safety of staff and students in the building. I immediately called the Code Red, and of course processes were followed. We'd had our drill, I believe, in November, and it was done really, really well. Police responded in under 4 minutes. The halls were empty, and police immediately began their search as we went through the processes here in the office. The ladies in the office were fantastic in notifying everyone. And again, students had been prepared by staff, and staff were well aware what their duties were. The place was empty, which allowed police to do a search from the basement to the 3rd floor, and that took the the Code Red, as you know, was about 40 minutes, and the 30 of that was the police searching the building. Every room was quiet, every room was locked, and it was as safe as we could have it during the lockdown.
I was actually in the kitchen, and the code red went off, saying there was a code red, and I just thought maybe it was still, I didn't know for sure what it was. We all went where we were supposed to go. We were all quiet, and we just waited and thought, oh my goodness, is this ever going to get over? And trying to, make light of it for the kids so they weren't too upset and nervous, but thank goodness it wasn't anything too bad. I just want to let you know about the Code Red. That was the second Code Red I was in, and the first one was pretty scary the first time it happened. It was break time, and the school council we were supposed to have a dance that night. The school council was decorating the cafeteria, and all of a sudden there was Code Red. We all went across the hall, and that's where the DC class was, and there was like a lot of us in that room, and the closet wasn't very big, and they had a bunch of kids in the closet. The rest of us it was dark in there. We had to all be quiet, and we were all sitting on the floor against the wall, and all you could hear was screaming in the school and people running. It was pretty terrifying, and it was really hard on the DC kids, so that was pretty scary.
Where were you when the Code Red happened?
I was in the kitchen over by our dish area, and I was just finishing cleaning some dishes, and then the Code Red sounded, and there was a big red flashing light, because in the kitchen you can't hear the announcement, so that's...
Did you think you were safe?
Half and half.
You guys don't have your phones in the kitchen, do you?
No.
So even if you wanted to, you couldn't contact your parents or anything?
No, I couldn't.
Did that bother you?
Not really, because I left it at home in the first place, but it was a little scary knowing that, what was going to happen. We did not know what was going to happen.
How did your class react?
Half of them were a little panicked, like myself, and then others were, just calm.
What was going through your head as time went on?
I'm wondering when it's going to be over, and the light's kind of giving me a headache, and just in general, I was really scared.
Did you tell your parents afterwards, and how did they react?
I did let them know what happened, and they were a little shocked, to say the least.
What was going through my head during the Code Red? There was a lot going through my head because we had 40 minutes to think. At first, my very first instinct was to think this must be a drill, and then I was trying to think of our red sheet, and then I remembered that there was no mention of a Code Red, so I knew it was a real deal. For the most part, though, I think I was really listening to see if I could hear anything, to get some sort of hint as to what was happening. And then, of course, I started thinking about my kids and if this is really serious, and, you know, protecting the people that were in here. And then I would flip back to, oh, it's probably not that serious. So I think I thought of a whole range of things, and I tried to not let my imagination go a little too wild. It really resonated with me when I realized other teachers didn't know what was going on. So, for example, a supply teacher was out getting coffee, and when she was on her way back, she realized that it was a serious code red when she saw all the police cars. For us, when we realized that other people, you know, were kind of like, what's going on, then we knew that it wasn't a drill.
Where were you during the code red?
I was in the fiction part of the library.
How did you feel when you heard the code red?
I figured it was a drill at first, and I wasn't too worried about it, but when it was like 20 minutes past, that kind of started to worry me.
How did your class react?
I was sitting with two people that had anxiety, so they started to panic a lot quicker than I did, so I was just trying to keep them calm, but the rest of the class was a little worried.
Did you feel safe?
I figured we were in a pretty remote part of the school that nobody would really come to if it was an intruder, but I was pretty safe.
Alrighty. Did you go on your phone?
Yeah, I did. I didn't message anybody when I was on it.
Did you tell your parents later?
Later, yeah.
How did they react?
They didn't even react. They were a little worried, but that was because my sister made it worse than it was.
You weren't at the school when the code red happened, correct?
Correct.
Did you know anyone who was at the school?
Yeah, the little brother was in school.
Were you worried about him?
No,
Why weren't you worried?
because I have complete faith in the school's safety procedures.
How did your brother react?
I think he was fine. I think he was all right. Like I said, I wasn't here when the code red happened, but I think he handled it all right.
Did you text him during the code red?
I tried, but I wasn't getting a response. I just figured he didn't have his phone on him because, you know, you gotta be quiet, and they say not to be texting during code reds.
Where were you when the code red happened?
I was just outside the school at the back side of it.
Did you hear the announcement?
Yeah, it came on the outside speakers as well, and then the inside speakers, I'm assuming, but I heard it outside too.
What did you do when you heard it?
I ran!
The code red for me was, I'll be perfectly honest, absolutely terrifying. It was the first one that I've actually had since teaching at the school. It didn't take very long to realize it was real, and fortunately, it was my prep. Unfortunately, that means that I was in here by myself. So I had all the lights out, and you know, all my doors covered, and you know, my mind gets racing, and I'm immediately thinking of the worst possibilities. I have nobody to talk to. So yeah, it was really, really scary, especially as it progressed, and then, you know, I started to see boots under the door, or could hear people walking in the hall, and I wasn't sure who it was, if it was the police or if it were students or who it was. So yeah, it was I can say pretty unnerving, and I'm really not looking forward to experiencing another one.
How did it feel being on the 3rd floor when the code red happened?
Well, we're kind of isolated up here, so we kind of feel a little safe up here, maybe too safe, in that we kind of assume that people are going to come up here to the 3rd floor sometimes, but it is quiet, so then you're not exactly sure what's going on. We did hear footsteps going up and down the hall a few times, and someone actually tried to open the door, which turned out to be one of my students. One of the students was out in the hallway at the time, going to the bathroom, and he came back to the class and tried to get in the classroom and couldn't open the door. So that was a little odd, and one of the other things that happened is there was a lot of noise in the parking lot down below us. So I think that was a little, not scary, but a little worrying for maybe some of the students.
Did any of your students react poorly to it?
No, not really. Initially, everyone thought it was a drill, and I had to say at some point, look, everyone, this wasn't scheduled, so this is a real thing. We need to be quiet. Now in my classroom, you can see my desk. I have a small group of people come here, and then most people go to the back of the classroom. And so with the small group, it was fine because I was with them at the back of the room. I think there were some people who were having a little bit of anxiety, especially when the door tried to be open because they're right there, right? But everyone actually did really well. I was really proud of all the students.
What was your immediate reaction when you heard the code red go off?
Confusion, because I was confused. I thought it was a drill at first, but then I realized we had one. I was like, don't we only have one a semester? So then I got scared.
What class were you in when it happened?
I was in art.
Where did you guys have to sit within the room?
So you know all the windows at the back? After they were closed and everything, the lights were off and doors were locked, we had to sit against that wall. So like some of us were like under the tables because it was the only space left.
Did you feel safe during the code red?
No, I did not feel safe. But that's just because if something happened, a locked door is not going to do much.
Was there a moment during the code red where you feared for your life?
The whole time. I was scared the entire time, just terrified.
How were you reacting when you were sitting there?
I was freaking out. I was trying to remain calm, but then I was like texting my sister and she was freaking out. And then I was texting my dad and he was freaking out. And I'm trying to calm them both, but at the same time trying to calm myself, so.
And were you worried at all because during the code red you're not supposed to be on your phone?
No. I was not gonna not tell my family anything. I was scared.
Where were you during the code red?
I was in Miss Blondeel's class, and the way that we did it, we went straight to the wall, and all of us were all terrified because it never happened before, and nothing like being locked in a room and there might be someone out there looking to kill you.
And did you go on your phone during it?
Yes, I did. I texted my mother,
And what did she say?
and she was like, just let me know what happens.